Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and House of X, issue number 6 of 6. There is still one more issue to go. That's Powers of 10, issue number 6 of 6. Remember, this is the two comics that are one. So, final issue of House of X, still got a Powers of 10 coming out. That's going to be the final issue. Then we break into all the other issues that are coming up. So, I'm going to tell you all about this comic book, spoilers included, after I tell you about who made this comic book. And before that, is what we have perfect? No, what is? But it's a start and a good one, Professor X. Lately, these introduction parts haven't actually been in the comics, which is weird and a little bit, not just a little bit frustrating, but is what it is. There's multiple in this one. So some of the ones that we saw previously but didn't see in the actual comic book being said, we see them here. So just try and spot them all. A lot of advertisements in this comic book too. So let's talk about Jonathan Hickman writing, Pepe Larraz on art, Marty Gracia and David Curiel on colors, VC's Clayton Cowles on letters. The design is by Tom Mueller. Pepe Larraz and Marty Gracia do the cover. Whole bunch of people doing the variant covers. And Stanley and Jack Kirby created the X-Men. This issue is called I Am Not Ashamed. Not entirely sure why that's the case, but I think that by the end we'll try and get into that a little bit. So we start off in Moira's No Space, which is a secret place. It's underwater in Krakoa. They kind of chill in and whatnot. And at one point, we actually see Moira in here, and she talks. She says something. She says yes. She agrees that yes, we should do this. So this is 1 month in the past. So X0, but in the past. Now this is weird, man, because we've been doing the X0, which is now. We've been doing the X1, which is 10 years in the future, X2, which is 100 years in the future, and X3, which is 1,000 years in the future. They come up and they start talking about 1 month ago. That's it. I can't take it anymore. I can't take this guy. It's too much time travel anymore. Like, they actually went in the past on this one, man. What's up with that? So anyway, it was only about a month ago that Professor X decided to put on the helmet, and boom, this is the point of no return as they decide here, and they all agree, yes, this is how we're going to go forward. So I love it. I love it. There's a message put out to all the humans, and I guess the mutants too, but definitely to all the humans saying, we're going to cure your diseases. We're going to cure your physical and mental diseases. That alone is going to let you live a whole lot longer, but we're also going to give you a pill that's going to allow you to last longer. I love this part here because, like, we used to want to give this stuff to you for free in an effort of good faith. Kind of like how people put out YouTube videos and they hope that people are going to watch the freaking ads so that we can actually make some money off them, right? I'm not going to go there. Professor X said it. See, that's one of the things I love about the mutants, man. The mutants, the X-Men, they always tell you the things that people are thinking, but they never actually say. So, says, listen, I'm going to have to charge you for this, all right? And the charge is, you're going to recognize our sovereignty. And every mutant in the world, every person who was ever born a mutant, done. They belong to us. They're allowed to apply for citizenship if they want. We decide that stuff. You don't get to decide. We get to decide. And if you don't like that, and this is one of the parts I love the most, if you don't like that I'm saying this, that we are saying this, if you're thinking to yourself, who are these mutants to dictate terms to us? I'm going to finish that one for Professor X. Then you're the problem. That is evidence of racism right there. And it is like, this is what the X-Men have always been about. It's like, hey, here's this thing. Try and figure it out on your own. If you do, good on you. If not, well, we'll keep on kicking. And we'll hope that eventually you realize, ow, my leg hurts. I absolutely love this. So, Professor X puts out that message to everybody, and boom, everybody's pretty much happy. Now, the mutants have to try and get along with each other. They're going to try. So, they've revealed everybody that's there. Some people have, said, oh, it's been revealed already. Well, if it has, that's cool. Who is the Red King? Just out of curiosity, because, like, that's interesting. There's always been the White King, the White Queen. Who's the Red King? My guess, I'm hoping on this, hoping that it's Kitty Pryde, because how perfect would that be? How perfect would that be? Anyway, watch it wind up being Cable. So anyway, because like I know it says King, you might be like, but Shadowcat, she's not a guy. I know. I'm hoping it's a misdirect. I'm hoping like anyway. They also add a couple others here. People who are on the outside. What are these called? The Great Captains: Cyclops, Gorgon, Bishop, and Magic. I'm not so sure why Magic is on here as opposed to, like, I can name several others that should be on there instead, but whatever. You want Magic on there, Magic's on there, fine. But Cyclops, Gorgon, and Bishop, that's a really good one. But again, seeing these guys here, I wonder, what about Shadowcat? You know, what about Kitty Pryde? What about Cable? We'll see. But anyway, yeah, so the Great Captains, and I love this. I love this saying, and I can't remember where I've seen this before. The Captain Commander is considered first among equals. Damn, that's cool. And of course, Cyclops has the CC down here. All right, that's not closed captions. That's, I just said it, Captain Commander. So Cyclops is the ultimate captain amongst these 4 Captain Commanders. All right, well, amongst these 4 great captains. So he's the Captain Commander. So he is indeed the first among equals. So, yeah. Anyway, so all the seats are filled except for the one. Hasn't been filled yet. Boom. And of course the outliers here, these guys. I was hoping they were going to give a little bit more of an explanation as to why Krakoa is considered the 14th on here with Cypher. Like, what's going on there? What about Trinary? What about, like, nothing with her? Nothing? So I'm curious. I'm just curious. See what's up with that. So they decide to form the council now and meet for the first time. And what's the first order of business? I love what Kurt says up here. So it appears our first bit of business is the oldest kind on the planet. Judgment. Yeah, I know. I sound probably more like Antonio Banderas than I do like a German Kurt Wagner. But hey, if you're new to this channel, understand a running joke here. My running accents suck. So all the captains are here and they're going to try and judge Sabretooth. Now here's the biggest problem that I have with this. But at the same time, if they're actually going to go with my interpretation of this, wow, we're already starting off on a really bad note. Sabretooth is being judged. Remember, he killed a bunch of humans. When we first started with issue number 1, House of X, issue number 1, we started with all of a whole bunch of mutants, like the Freedom, what are they called again? The Freedom Force? Anyway, these guys were running. Mystique and I think Pyro was there, but whatever. Sabretooth was definitely there. And they were trying to get out of there. Mystique is now one of the captains, all right? They're showing that when this did happen a while ago, what's his name? Apocalypse here actually gave the order for them to go. And it's just weird that Mystique would be there like that also. Anyway, when they go and they're trying to get away, Sabretooth winds up getting caught. So he's got to stand trial for his crimes and whatnot. And then White Queen goes and, Emma Frost goes and she rescues him from there because it's mutants who will judge mutants, not anybody else, because they will be done with bias. Humans will judge mutants with bias. This is kicking. The X-Men are kicking. This is systemic racism against mutants. I love it. I love how they're just weaving this stuff in. You either get it or you don't. It's on you. So Sabretooth is in fact judged. But here's the funny thing about it. They decide on these laws here and now. And there's actually the page where they do it. Make more mutants, which means sex. That means the nookie. They doing it all for the cookie. And they're going to be knocking some mutant boots. Loves it. I'm down. I volunteer because it's my understanding that mutants don't mate well with other mutants and that it's actually a mutant with it. So I nominate to hang out with one of the hotter ones. Don't give me a Morlock. Yes, I'm going to be a little bit picky. Anyway, the next one, plus Murder No Man. And they're not numbered. That's something that's also interesting. They're all plussed, right? Giving them a level of equality. And then respect this sacred land. I love it. The 3 main rules, not 10 commandments, 3 golden rules. That's beautiful. The thing is, they made it up during this council while Sabretooth was there waiting. So they literally judged Sabretooth from actions that he did some time ago, they're judging him by rules that they just now made. So I want you to think about how fair that is. Anything that any of us do, you could be out walking and cross the street at a crosswalk, whatever it is, and then they could get you on some little thing like, oh, if you're not at least halfway through the street by the time that the flashing, stop hand starts going, well, then that's a violation. If you know that in advance, that's one thing. Not only did Sabretooth not know that in advance, but neither did he nor anybody on the council, to the best of my knowledge, aside from Professor X. Maybe Xavier knew, I don't know, but maybe Magneto knew, but Xavier is the only one that I can tell actually knew what the punishment would be. So think about that. Hey, you just committed a crime. Oh, I apologize. Sorry. Well, yeah, you didn't fight very hard because you thought that it was just a minor crime, but for us, this is a death sentence. Whoa. I literally crossed the street and I didn't walk fast enough across the street before the red hand started flashing, and all of a sudden, you're going to kill me now? Well, we just made up this law now, and that's what we're going to punish you by. So literally, the people who were even judging him apparently did not have any cognizance of what the law was going to be. They had no inkling of what the punishment was going to be. So I'm sure that there were several people here who literally just judged death for this person without them realizing that the judgment was for death. Granted, Sabretooth isn't actually killed. Amazing art in this, and truly terrifying consequences here. Basically, if you've ever seen Demolition Man, he's not put on ice, but instead he's put down, and also somebody goes and says to me at one point, oh, there's a great moment in here for Sabretooth. Oh yeah, there's a great moment in here for Sabretooth, because look, Emma Frost says be quiet, and he's like, and he's still fighting it, so he's a badass. And then Jean Grey also says quiet, and then he starts drooling at the freaking mouth. It's like, damn! It took Emma Frost and Jean Grey in order to silence him. Like, that's a lot. That's some serious willpower. That's the Sabretooth I know and am terrified of. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that. At the same time, however bad you might think that is, I want you to think about the last person who had Emma Frost and Jean Grey in their head at the same time. Yeah. So, interesting, am I wrong? So, we have Sabretooth gets sent down into this chasm. He's exiled essentially forever. There is no limit to his, think about how damn cruel this is. Judged by a crime that he didn't know that was a crime. Oh yeah, sure, it's a crime, but they just made it a crime to kill humans. For him, he's like, I'm a mutant, I'm above all this stuff. He's always lived by that. All the people who he's ran with, including the person who set him on the mission in the first place, they knew what he was, and to begin with. Here's a kleptomaniac. You're going to send him into the store to go and buy something for you, and he comes out with a whole bag full of stuff, and you only gave him $1. You know what I'm saying? How do you get all this stuff? And it's like, you're going to punish him, but you knew what he was. There was no therapy given beforehand. There was nothing. So, literally, Sabretooth got the worst of every imaginable law. Is he a terrible person? Hell yeah, and he deserves this stuff. That's not what I'm arguing. What I am arguing, I'm trying to argue as a lawyer here. I'm going to go get my Lawyer for Dummies books. But, yeah, dude, Sabretooth got a raw deal in this one. So he's going underground. He's going to have plants stuck in his mind so that he's aware, but he can't do anything about it. He can't move. He can't fight. He can't struggle. He's just going to be aware of how ridiculously long he's down there. Basically a form of solitary confinement. If he ever does get sent out in order to do something, I want you to actually think about it. The UN has decided, Amnesty International has decided, solitary confinement is undeniably torture. That's what it is. It is not tantamount to torture. It is a form of torture. And this is not even like, oh, we're going to put you in a dark room, or we're going to keep, or like, American jail systems typically do it. I'm going to put you in a room that the lights never go out. You know what I'm saying? This is his life from now on. He will always be aware of being down there. When they do pull him out if they pull him out for a mission, he's going to be freaking crazier than he was ever before. Literally, this is the worst kind of torture you can imagine. It's like, just kill him. Just kill him. Wouldn't that be better? Just kill him. Let him go. God. Like, I would rather that. I would rather you just kill me instead of being a punk and just letting me live in torture for eternity. Not being able to move, not being able to do anything like that. My God, man. Like, that is terrifying. Professor X, at this point right now, you call this a mutant haven. You step outside the laws, look at what we do to you. Think about that. So these guys, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. But still, these guys, what do? They celebrate. They celebrate. This reminds me so much, and I hope that I'm not wrong on this, but at the same time, I just might be. They're celebrating. They got the fireworks going, like, boo, yeah, party poppers and stuff like that. Here's a great moment in here. You want to see a great moment besides seeing these two over here? It's like the third wheel. Third wheel's always up in there. Well, guess what? Something else happens with Wolverine later on. He's got the six-pack, and somehow it's like the never-ending six-pack. This thing lasts freaking forever. Okay, he goes... There we go. He marches up. He marches up to Gorgon. Marches right to Gorgon. Gives the dude a beer. We got to assume that, that right now, Gorgon and Wolverine are drinking a brewski together, just chilling out and whatnot. You know who else is making up? Look at this over here. Oh, what's that? What's that? Oh, I think they're making eyes at each other. What's going on? This is every fantasy ever. All right? But regardless, the idea that they're actually friends. Okay? This isn't a Pornhub review. You could check out some of my comic book reviews on Pornhub. Oh, yes, it's true. They exist. But the point is that, yeah, these two, they're together. Look at this. They go and say at one point, hey, all the stuff that was between us before, that ends today. Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that, because I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a moment. So let me really quick just throw something out there. They're giving us more on Krakoa, where it is. Remember, it's here. It's Scotty Young. It's here in the Pacific, the South Asian, what do they call this? The South Asian Pacific, the Asian Pacific. Anyway, it's here. Okay, it's down here. So by New Zealand. All right, over there in the Pacific Ocean, Southern Pacific Ocean. And there's also one, right over here. All right, so they show the Krakoa Atlantic. There you go, right up on top. And then they show Krakoa Pacific. Bang. But there's one thing that they're not showing. You see, they say here, Krakoa all, right? They got all these different places and whatnot. But number 18 is missing. It's number 18, right? Yeah, pretty good memory. Excuse me. So number 18 is missing. How is that Krakoa all? Well, where is number 18? There's 18. It's here, again, in this hidden, it looks like, Atlantis or something like that. Maybe it's Atlantis. You know what I think it is? Let's go back to the beginning of this book. Looks like the secret cradle, Moira's no place. Looks like that's underwater, mother fatheads. What's up with that? So maybe that's actually what it is. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm guessing. I'm speculating at this point. But either way, this does remind me of, like, not necessarily a political thriller, but like this could break into a political thriller. Because I'm telling you, you got a whole new nation, all the problems that they're going to have on this new nation, just amongst other people. But forget about, like, themselves, all these people who do not agree with each other. We're like, oh, yes, fine, we're here. But at the end of the day, look at what just happened with Sabretooth. Like, this, to me, the bulk of the comic book was built around Sabretooth's punishment, all right? You're paying attention to everything I said about how it was just as wrong as could be, deserved, but wrong as could be. Think about this. When they went and they started celebrating afterwards, to me, this is no different. And if you're, if you really believe in a political candidate, good for you. But all over the world, we're seeing that our leaders are failing us because they're all being bribed. All of them. They're being bribed. Slowly but surely, they're all being bribed. The moment you start taking bribes, you're done. And I'm done with you. Unfortunately, you're not done with me. So these politicians, they take these bribes, they take, whatever, and all of a sudden, they start supporting their special interests as opposed to the people who put them in charge. But what always happens, no matter what, when somebody wins, it's usually the presidency if you're in the States, but wherever you are in the world, it's your prime minister, if it's your whatever, there's a celebration. And people are celebrating their new masters. Masters who essentially have the ultimate dictate over them. And they could do exactly what Professor X is doing here. While it may seem like he's just doing what he has to do, if that's your belief, if that's your opinion on this, that's cool, man. That's cool. Me, my biggest fear is living under a tyrant. That's my biggest fear. If I had a nightmare, if the Bogarts in Harry Potter came after me, I would see politicians standing over top of me with their boot on my neck. You know what I'm saying? And my family in chains. That's what I would see. That's really what I myself personally am pulling out of this comic book. Is that Professor X is potentially becoming a tyrant, the likes of which even Magneto and freaking Apocalypse haven't seen yet. It's funny that Apocalypse is in here, and one of the things he talks about is, if we're not allowed to kill each other, well then how are we going to prove who's the best amongst us? Man, how about we all just have spelling bees? Because the physically toughest amongst all of us doesn't mean a whole lot, son. You know what I'm saying? But they're saying that it's not a crime to kill other mutants. It's more of a crime to kill humans. It's funny. I still think that they're thinking the wrong way. Because, just kill. Think about what they did. It's illegal to kill humans. It's not necessarily illegal. It's not one of these super punishable crimes to kill other mutants. So, wow, where do we go with that? So we still got to find out what happens in the next issue. The next issue it's that upgrade red band. This is where, the crap's going to hit the fan, right? The Powers of 10, issue number 6 of 6. I'm looking forward to it. I imagine you guys are also. Again, to me, this was more of a political holy crap moment, because you see that the tyrants, the level of being a tyrant is just skyrocketed. So yeah. Aside from that, though, great book to really show the direction that they're going and the troubles that they're going to have just amongst themselves. This is a motley crew unlike we've ever seen before. In fact, the closest you can make the argument of this being like something else would be the axis of Hydra during the Secret Empire. Think about all those villains that were in charge of everything. When they had those councils and you had all these bad guys there in charge of stuff, and people who compromised to be in charge of things. People like Thor, who was unworthy at the time. And he saw, and I still don't understand this one. I gotta ask Mr. Spencer what the hell he was thinking with this one. When Steve Rogers, the evil Hydra Cap, was proved worthy of Mjolnir, lifted that sumbitch up, right? It was great to get Thor to work for him, but it didn't make a lot of sense to me. But that's not what this comic book review is about. But when you do think about that, characters like Thor, who compromised themselves in a major way because they saw somebody else as being worthy when they were not. The compromises that we make for leaders. And the Professor X that we knew, this ain't him. This is not him. Bodily, it may look the same, but he's got an entire different set of lives. He's seen 8 or 9 lives that came before where he failed miserably. He doesn't know if this one's going to be successful. It's a messed up one, dude. This is a really messed up one. Anyway, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.